I like trains. I really do. I like their rhythm, and I like the freedom of being suspended between two destinations, all anxieties of purpose taken care of. For this moment, I know where I'm going, or at least I think I do. So today we dive into Queensland Rail.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a
G'day everyone, I'm coming to you from Gympie here in Queensland, and today I need to find my way to Brisbane. I'm gonna take a train, so I don't have a booking, so I'm just gonna walk up to get a ticket, and I'm not exactly sure what kind of train I'm getting on, but I'm excited to find out. So come along with me on this journey, let's do this.
Everybody just do your thing.
If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan. Born and bred in Singapore, I now call Australia home. I create heaps of travel and food related content, so that explains why I can never sit still and my mouth is always full. Today's train journey is just a small part of a wider travel series which began in Adelaide some days ago. I flew to Melbourne, and while there, I filmed an eventful foodie video. Australia's newest low-cost airline flew me to Sunshine Coast, and I somehow ended up here in Gympie. Later today, I'll arrive in Brisbane in preparation for tomorrow's flight to New Zealand on board the world's most beautiful business class cabin. I then experience New Zealand's newest train service to Hamilton, and then I get airborne travelling down and up the entire length of this beautiful country. I also experience the trials and tribulations of a flight cancellation in Auckland, which sees me stranded in New Zealand for a day. I thankfully made it back to Australia afterwards, where Qantas makes me feel like home and takes me back to where my journey began. Videos of this series are now mostly available in the description below, and keep a lookout for future ones. Even better, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you won't miss the next exciting episode coming up. Giving me a like is the easiest way to let YouTube know I'm doing the right thing. So here's a thanks, because your support is very much appreciated. We're beginning our journey today from Gympie North Station, which is one of the stops along the North Coast Line. This 1,681 kilometre railway line begins in far north Queensland in the city of Cairns, and passes many towns along eastern Queensland like Bundaberg, Gladstone, Rockhampton, and terminates in Brisbane Roma Street Station. The journey between Gympie and Brisbane Central Station, where I'm getting off, is roughly 175 kilometers, and we will make 18 stops and a duration of about 2 hours 45 minutes to complete this trip. To get on these trains, you can either buy a paper ticket, which would cost you 30 Australian dollars one way, or tap on and off at respective train stations with your debit or credit card, which comes in at a reasonable $17. The Interurban Multiple Units, or IMU, are a class of electric trains manufactured for Queensland Rail between 1996 and 2011. Today we're on board the IMU 105, which was delivered to Queensland Rail in 1997. Between Gympie and Brisbane, you're also able to get on long-distance train like the Spirit of Queensland, which runs the entire length of this line between Cairns and Brisbane. That would have been my choice, but today that train isn't operating, so we make do with this one here. Train doors are manually operated by pushing a button for entry and exit. Suppose this helps to keep the weather elements at bay, especially when the train is sitting at an open platform like this, waiting to receive passengers. On entry, the cabin is extremely spacious, if not a little dated. Think Vanilla Ice, TLC, The Hansons, Criss Cross. The 90s vibe is extremely strong, I could add on lines from Muriel's wedding because I know them by heart. Oh god, I need a life. But for now, I'll spare you the torture. IMU 105 is the only train which retains this green ocean-themed seat pattern. Most other trains have been refurbished with a more modern interior like this one. So in a way, I'm sitting in a piece of Queensland Rail history right here. For a solo traveller like me with luggage, sitting in these seats facing each other would be best because of the space afforded. It's almost like first class. There are also luggage racks above on both sides of the aisle. For larger pieces of baggage, more luggage racks are available near the doors, so there's no need to lug your stuff around. This isn't a luxury train, so seat backs are very short and do not recline, let alone having adjustable headrests. There are a couple of toilets located at certain dead ends of this train. You can tell they've seen better days, and I had to be doubly sure they were locked every time I used it. Definitely don't want to be caught with my pants down. The way this toilet looked and how it smelled was rather disjointed. There was a very strange whiff of blueberry pancakes every time I came in here, which really screwed with my mind. So much so, I spent a minute sniffing around like a dog in heat, trying to figure out where that aroma came from. Perhaps it's a ghost of someone who choked in here while eating pancakes? I'm not entirely sure. The train started pulling away on time at 1:24 p.m. And here I am continuing my journey in this travel series. The ride is very smooth, almost a silk-like buttery feel. As we begin our ride to Brisbane, let's take our time to appreciate the vast distances Queensland Rail has to cover. Our journey between Gympie and Brisbane is right about from here to here. This gives you an idea how large the state of Queensland is in the continent of Australia. Queensland is, after all, the next largest state after Western Australia. Let's take a look at this network again. Besides this train service we're on, there are also long-distance rail services we take into consideration. Let's start with the Tilt train from Brisbane to Rockhampton. Next, we have the Spirit of Queensland between Brisbane and Cairns, followed by Spirit of the Outback from Brisbane to Longreach. Then, the Westlander from Brisbane to Charlottesville, and lastly, the Inlander between Townsville and Mount Isa. It is amazing when you think of all the combined distances of these services adds up to approximately 6,600 kilometers worth of it. Queensland Rail also maintains the entire rolling stock, rail tracks, and related infrastructure. The origins of Queensland Rail can be traced back to the mid-19th century when the colony of Queensland separated from New South Wales. The new government was determined to facilitate development, and laying out a rail network was seen as a crucial part to this puzzle. The government's desire to have a rail network constructed in the fastest time frame with the least cost led Queensland to adopt the narrow gauge rail lines, and they were the first in the world to do so. This explains why the entire rail network in Queensland is constructed as such till present day, and they have the distinction of the world's second longest narrow gauge rail network. We're arriving into Nambour, a town of just over 11,000 people. Nambour is a town kinda in transition as there used to be a major sugar producing region because of the extensive sugarcane fields surrounding this town. These fields are gradually being converted to cattle grazing, turf farms, or have been sold to property developers as the population continues to grow. Nambour is also the administrative centre of Sunshine Coast Region Council. A couple of days ago, I flew into Sunshine Coast Airport from Melbourne. When I arrived, I made the 1-hour road trip towards Gympie, where I departed from earlier. From here, We are less than 20 minutes by car to Sunshine Coast Airport. It feels like I've come a full circle. At Nambour Station, this is also where the crew of this train gets swapped over, and we get a fresh set to take us on the rest of this journey towards Brisbane. The maximum speed of the IMU 100 series electric trains is 140 kilometers an hour. But because we seem to be stopping at a station every 20 to 30 minutes, we seldom went beyond 80 to 90 kilometers per hour. So the ride is best described as very leisurely. But because of this slow speed, the ride quality was also surprisingly smooth and very, very cushiony, which made for an extremely relaxing couple of hours. I was so relaxed it felt like I was in a spa, getting my feet massaged. Well, we can all dream, right? We're just about to reach the 2-hour mark of our trip, and this puts us in the town of Glasshouse Mountains. This little town of just over 5,000 people serves as a stop-off point for visitors heading to the Glasshouse National Park. Hiking and trekking is a popular activity here because of the Glasshouse mountain ranges. They are a range of 10 extinct volcanoes with varying heights, which are opened for climbers to explore. The tallest of which is Mount Beaver, seen here, rising to a height of 1,824 feet. At the base of Mount Beaver are also a couple of caves to explore. At certain angles, Mount Beaver is said to resemble a gorilla hunched over facing the coastline, which is behind me as we speak. Do you see it? As we get closer to Brisbane, we also start seeing stations with many platforms. We're now pulling into P3 Station, which has a total of 5. As we move along, this service will now run as an express train, bypassing numerous other stations, only stopping at Northgate, Bowen Hills, and Fortitude Valley, before our impending arrival into Brisbane City. Now that we're slowly but surely chugging into suburbia and intense urban build-up, it's time for me to sum up my thoughts about Queensland Rail and my experience in this electric IMU from Gympie to Brisbane. When I was piecing this travel series together, not being able to get on the Tilt train or the Spirit of Queensland did leave me a little disappointed. Because none of these trains were operating today, and because I was flying to New Zealand tomorrow, I couldn't exactly be flexible with this part of my journey. However, I did overall enjoy this train because it turned out to be rather comfortable. I mean, it wasn't exactly the most glamorous looking thing, but you know what? This bad boy made the journey as smooth as possible. The main entertainment was, of course, the window view. I had my head turned outwards the whole time, and it was probably aching by the time I arrived in Brisbane. And I was constantly fascinated by the sights, and perhaps as an occupational hazard, took down so much notes about what was where and where was what. I have to keep reminding myself that this isn't a long-distance train. So the negative aspects of today's journey does absolutely need to be measured in my expectations. Suppose I've only done train reviews on carriages which are equipped appropriately, and that's long-distance train travel. While I was enjoying the view, after the 1-hour mark, my bum was starting to itch and I was looking forward to some nibbles or a hot bevy. Since there was no cafe car, I could do none of that. Perhaps installing some vending machines on the train could be an idea worth looking into. Or is Queensland Rail worried about trash generated by this? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I keep comparing it to the Tahuya commuter train between Auckland and Hamilton in New Zealand. In that train, the duration is somewhat similar to my trip today, but there is a cafe car and trash bins throughout to facilitate rubbish management. Go have a look at that video if you haven't. It will be linked in the description below. So in summary, we've made 20 stops, covering just over 175 kilometers, and a journey time of 2 hours 55 minutes, with an overall average speed of just under 65 kilometers per hour. So it isn't high-speed rail per se, but it does get you from point A to point B in a leisurely yeah nah fashion. So here's a nod to Queensland Rail from Gympie to Brisbane. And although this line terminates at Brisbane Roma Street, I'm getting off at Brisbane Central because my hotel is just a skip across the road. Sweet. And welcome to Brisbane, everyone. So that was my experience on the train from Gympie to Brisbane. So I'll be here overnight, and tomorrow I'll be getting on China Airlines to fly to New Zealand in business class. So make sure you look out for that video. Alright, so in the meantime, I've chucked details of my Instagram on your screen right now. So hit me up there, chuck me a follow, so you can see where am I traveling to in real time. Of course, more importantly, do not forget to hit the subscribe and the bell notification icon. And until the next time, I'll see you around. Bye!